I'm really interested. I've just recently discovered that the Community Gardeners Club actually is full of people who are promoting pollinator gardens very actively. And also that there's a big movement amongst young gardeners in this direction. So I thought you could both illustrate that and talk to me about it, because I know the Gardeners Club is tremendously active in beautifying Maynard and planting gardens and planting planters and educating people about how to grow things. And I've just discovered taking on removing invasives from an area in town. So there's an awful lot that I don't know about what's going on. So I thought you might be able to fill us in a little bit.
Sure, whatever I can.
And give us a tour of your pollinator garden.
Sure, yeah, and I think it's, like, the important thing is that I feel like I'm gradually gathering knowledge and information, so that's kind of, what is represented here is what has been collected and then what already existed, because I'm also very frugal, and so I believe in sort of transforming things slowly and inexpensively. Yeah, so I guess with regards to the garden club, I see a lot of interest in diversifying what plants we have in Maynard, because we're trying to get a stable food system for certain types of bees, and mostly native bees. And one thing that's interesting about our garden is that we do have honeybees, European honeybees. Yeah. We've only had them for one season, but my husband is very interested in beekeeping, and I'm very interested in the environmental aspect of planting and gardening. So some people might say that those two things can't quite coexist, but we're trying to create a lush landscape where there's enough for everybody, basically. That's our mindset, is create, basically get the plants that are for specialist insects, but also have plenty to go around.
Hello, Sylvester's...
You want to need to go around the tomatoes a little bit?
Oh, the tomatoes in the way.
They're in the way, I think.
Yeah, they are.
You might need to scoot around the tomatoes. Or you could just pick some tomatoes, if you see any red ones.
So can you say a bit more, when you're saying you're trying to create a stable environment for certain bees?
Yes.
So
okay.
I didn't realize it was as specific as that. Give us some examples of that.
There are many, many insects that are specialist insects.
Yeah.
So those insects... They're right, we all have our recycling cans out today. But to start that over, so a lot of plants and insects have evolved to have a special relationship, so that they can only basically lay their eggs on one plant, or maybe only feed from one plant. And even some of the plants have evolved to have that specialized relationship. So one really strong example of that is like monarchs. So monarchs need milkweed, and that's why a lot of attention has been paid toward trying to plant milkweed, different kinds of milkweed, so that monarchs will have places to lay their eggs. And on the flip side, some invasives can actually look like those plants to the adult laying insects. And so that's actually one reason people might want to take out invasives, is because they are kind of tricking the insect to lay their eggs in a place that's not actually going to be able to support their offspring. So with that regard, one thing that the Maynard gardeners have done, and this is spearheaded by Liza Smith and a couple other folks in the Save a Bee Club, which I love, they have created a list of insects that we are trying to support, and I think it's three bumblebee varieties. One is, I think, the black-belted bumblebee.
Mom, eat quick!
It might get mushy. I know. Well, I'm going to keep talking. I'll let the cereal get mushy. So with those different bumblebees, we have to make sure that there are enough plants in Maynard to support their population. And I don't know the details about each insect species, but some of them they need a plant within a certain number of feet in order to be able to keep going, basically, because their range is small.
Okay. So you've got to have some corridors of habitat for those bees, so that they can travel around enough.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So in this initiative, and that would be a great kind of thread for you to follow. That might be too noisy. You could go do that over there. one initiative is the Save the Bee Club, and they kind of suggested that each gardener pick 3 plants off of this list to plant in their garden to create that corridor within Maynard. And so I don't remember which ones I picked, but I was pleasantly surprised to see that of the list, I already had a lot of them because I've been trying to plant natives.
Yes.
Not necessarily knowing what insects I'm planting for, just knowing a variety is going to help everybody.
Yes. Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm becoming more and more. I think since I've been doing this blog, I've been more aware of little pockets of pollinator gardens all over town, particularly in the old part of town, like this is actually.
Yes, that probably makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of look when you kind of walk around. I think I can kind of see now, just visually. Oh, I think that house is making an effort to do native plants because they tend to be less well contained than the cultivated varieties. They tend to be a little bit less showy.
Yep.
And of course, this time of year, like in October, a lot of the native plants, a lot of all plants actually, have gone by the wayside in their blooming season, so you can't see much. But they also tend to be a little bit taller, and they might also have a little bit more of this like wild, joyful look. I
Right,
think.
absolutely. Yeah. Though I noticed that actually your front yard here, you have trimmed them back a little bit here.
I have, and so this year I'm always trying to figure out what to do because there's a lot of suggestions, of course, to like leave things as they are because different insects. I see that. Yeah. So Sylvester, can you show this? Can you show this to Sarah? What you're holding? So this is an example of a seed head from a dense blazing star, and each of these, Sylvester, if you want, you can do this. Each of these, is going to create one of these dense blazing star spikes, new plants, basically.
Can I have some of those? Can I have some of those
Can you
seeds?
give
I'll
Sarah
have them.
some seeds?
I want some of those. Because I
These
haven't
are
got
a
that.
beautiful
Thank you.
purple,
I'm gonna
like
have
just
some of those babies.
purple spike.
Yeah,
And
fantastic.
they are a really important pollinator plant, and they are native. Which it's amazing when you look at some things, you're like, wow, that's a native plant. It's so showy.
Mom, it broken my
That's great.
Oh,
You
I'm
can go get
sorry.
another sword. Why
I'm
don't you go
sorry.
find
I
another
didn't.
sword?
I didn't mean to upset you. Can I get you another one, Sylvester? I was going to. I tell you what. I was going to put this in my pocket, and then I was going to plant them in my garden, and I hope they'll grow into lots and lots of purple plants.
So Sylvester, we could pick any of these spikes, and then we can kind of try to break it off. Should we try that one?
All right, and I won't take any of these seeds from you.
See if I'm strong enough to break it. Ooh. Do you think I need to go get a scissors or something? Oh, I got it. There you go. And
All
now
right.
you're not hitting people with the sword.
You got a whole one now.
Yeah. So I guess you were kind of mentioning like what goes on at different times of the year. I'm trying to leave things as they, like after they're done blooming, I try to generally leave them. Although I will say, so the reason for that is that a lot of native bees, they actually put their eggs in the hollow stems of native plants.
Uh-huh.
So a lot of the native plants actually have these hollow stems.
Yes.
And then in the winter, I don't know if coneflower is an example. No, I already cut down some because, just for us because we are moving, and so I wanted to make it look a little bit more attractive for a potential buyer who doesn't know about this work, maybe.
Yeah.
But in a usual season, I would just keep everything as much as possible, and it's so amazing to see the birds come perch on the tall plants in the winter, like this one. This is an ironweed cultivar. And then they eat the seeds, so it's kind of this like full life cycle
Yeah.
of the plant.
Oh, it's a fantastic garden.
You'll notice, I think this summer was a little rough on some plants because the taller plants really flopped over in my garden. And so I think a lot of people just cut them back, and I'm waiting till these are completely ready for seed, and they might be soon. But this is another kind of ironweed. I think this is New York ironweed. It looks like these seeds are now ready. So you kind of have to wait until it's super fluffy.
Mom, coming.
You can keep playing. So these ones would be ready. Do you want to take some of these ones too?
Yeah, I don't have any ironweed. I'd like to take some of that.
I don't know how well this does from seed because I haven't found babies of it, but
Just give it a try.
may as well try. So I was going to say that with collecting native seeds, you do want to wait until they're like completely dry and ready. So with milkweed,
Mom, can I put my sword in my wash?
you can
Here?
put that there, yeah. So with milkweed, like when the pods are like this, I'm not positive if this is completely ready. It might be because they do look pretty mature, but I would usually wait until it pops open on its own.
Right.
And that would be the case for all of the seeds. Like try to wait until they're really dry
Right.
before you collect them.
Some people put paper bags, I think, over
Yes,
them.
I've
and
heard
sort
that.
of tie them up with elastic bands so that you catch them.
Caterpillar in there. Just noticed. I don't know what kind that is. Oh, green one.
How long have you lived here, first
We've
of all?
lived here for 3 years.
Oh, that's that all? So you must have been very busy, and you just went for it and
went
planted
for it.
loads of stuff.
Yes, and our mentality was, it's ringing.
Now.
Well, we're gonna keep talking.
So I'm talking to your mum for a little while, and then you get your mum back again, and she can talk to you all the time. Is that gonna work? Do you think? I think it might.
Thanks for being so patient.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's kind of annoying when grown-ups talk all the time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But if I can have a little while with her, and then she's going to talk with you.
This is a milkweed pod. You can take that. So when we arrived, we had mostly grass in the front yard, and these strips. There was everywhere around the house was like 18 inches of garden, basically. And then we just thought, let's try to take as much grass away. And our mentality was really like, well, we don't know how long we'll be here, but we want to make as much of an impact as we can. Because as we understand, even 1 year and one garden counts for biodiversity.
Right.
It's not that you have to have a garden that's been around for 90 years to make a huge difference. Even, I think, an oak seedling that's a year old hosts insect life. I've heard in Doug Tallamy's lectures. So I think that's really inspiring.
That is
you don't have to feel overwhelmed.
Right. You could move every 3 years and keep planting pollinator gardens.
Exactly. You might just do that. Do you see the milk coming out of the milkweed?
Yeah, look.
How did you do that?
Oh. Like this, the milk.
The bugs eat this. Bugs eat this.
Well, the monarch caterpillars will eat the leaves. And then the aphids like the seed pods, I noticed.
Can I put this on back on?
We'll see if we can. It won't really stay on, but you can just like maybe hang it on there a little bit. That might work.
That's like a big dinner for the bugs, isn't it,
Oh, I
Sylvester?
bet they love that. And then the birds might eat the seeds. There we go.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's very little lawn there. Just a little path around there.
And we realized that because we also really like vegetable gardening. So this year we got 4 of those like 4x4 beds and put them in further sun, because where we had them originally,
What do you call those?
the like 4x4 cedar beds, the raised
Oh, the
beds,
cedar bed, the raised beds, yes.
we just decided that they would maybe be nice, and we tried to do like a little U-pick garden, but I think everybody's been they've been too polite to take a lot of the things we planted. But it was the idea
That's
next to
nice.
the little free
That's
library.
sweet.
We thought we'd
Yeah,
have a
yeah,
U-pick
yeah.
garden.
Yeah.
And these beds have done so much better because they have complete sun, uninterrupted sun, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that.
Do you want to take it on the grass where it'll be a little quieter? And then you can even look for tomatoes in the grass. Maybe in the grass.
So let's see what else you've got. What else you've got to show us?
So the way we kind of planted this was to intentionally have a pollinator garden in this strip all the way back.
Yeah.
We were going to plant, shorter and then taller in the back. And it worked pretty well. We did move a couple things to be shorter. And what we also learned was that while you can go to any nursery and buy native plants, a lot of what they would be selling would be cultivars, and I've learned that you want to try to get to stick with straight species as much as possible. So that would be like buying a plant that doesn't have a name after it. It might just be called coneflower or Echinacea purpurea, but it wouldn't be called like Echinacea fireworks or whatever. That would be evidence of a cultivar. And so the reason is similar to what I mentioned, is that the specialized insect-plant relationship gets a little bit interrupted when you have cultivated the plant, because you might have cultivated a gene out of the plant or in the plant that doesn't have that same benefit to the insect.
Right.
So that was a little bit of a learning curve. So we do have some things that are more cultivars.
Okay.
So yeah, one of my inspirations was reading Robin Wall Kimmerer's Braiding Sweetgrass, and she has a chapter on aster, I think New York aster or New England aster and goldenrod, and she comes at her ecology from the lens of both being an indigenous woman and being an ecologist, and so she can really kind of pin down the science of why things exist in harmony the way they do. And she mentions with what I think she has found, or other scientists have found, that the reason goldenrod and aster bloom at the same time is because the color combination of purple and gold attract the insects, the pollinators. And so you often will, on the roadside, you'll see them blooming near each other at the same time of the year.
I didn't know that.
I don't know how many other combinations like that exist that we don't know about yet.
Yeah.
It's so amazing for me to think about that.
Yeah. Yeah. What?
Spiders over there.
The spiders in the garden. How
These-
lovely.
I think probably on a sunnier day,
Yeah.
these would be buzzing, but I bet a lot of the insects are a little bit, a
Having
little bit lazy.
doze. That's right.
Full day like
What's
today.
this here?
This I believe is it maybe Andromeda? I can't recall. This was here when we moved in. It's definitely not native.
That's a
I think there are native versions of it.
Mama, that's a dragonfly. Help me.
Do you like dragonflies as well? I like dragonflies. Love them. So what was your sort of formative influences on becoming a pollinator garden here?
I guess I would say definitely, watching webinars with Doug Tallamy
Yeah?
or Dr. I think it's pronounced Jagir, who is much
Yeah.
more local,
Yeah.
but does some really fascinating work. And then I really have relied on the Facebook groups. I think there's Native Plants of the Northeast.
Oh,
I
yes.
think I'm on that one.
Yep.
Crunchy underfoot, right? There's another great one I just found called. I'm gonna keep talking to this.
It is comfort store.
Oh yeah, okay. I'm gonna keep if you wanna stand with me, that's fine. You can do this. I also just got on propagating native plants on Facebook. That's amazing. Are you on that?
No,
that one?
I didn't. That sounds great.
It seems like a very recent addition, but it's really helpful because, as I was mentioning earlier, it's hard to know when seeds are mature for me as a new gardener.
Yes.
Sometimes they're like fluffy and they're flying around,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
a lot of times I want to collect them earlier in the season because I want to save them or share them or whatever. And it's a really great wealth of information because you can just type in the search bar whatever plant you're wondering about, and somebody has probably posted about it. So that's been a huge resource. And then I think I'm still looking for something that kind of combines fine gardening with native plants, and I haven't found this magazine yet, but I'm still searching for that kind of a resource because I came to gardening for the beauty, but I stayed for the ecology. And so that is, I feel like there's a little bit of a hole in the media right now.
Yes.
But the Native Plants Trust has been also a really helpful resource for me because they have just incredible. Their bookstore is great.
Yeah.
Happily, I inherited some amazing native plant books from a friend who passed away, and she had an incredible library, and her parting wish was that all of her family or friends, anybody who came, if you want to walk around, you can. Anybody who came would take part in her library.
Mommy.
So we all went home. Do you remember when we went home with books from Hillary's funeral?
That's very kind.
It was incredible.
She had a plan.
She had a plan, and so she has influenced me a lot too.
Yeah.
So friends, I guess. That's another big influence.
Yeah.
I'm also reading right now Suburban Safari, I think it's called.
Uh-huh.
And that's an older book, I think maybe late 90s. But it's fascinating because I think oh wow. It's really interesting, and it suits us in Maynard quite well because it's from the perspective of someone who decides to spend her year detailing what's happening in her backyard. And she has a small yard, maybe the size of this one. And I can find a lot of parallels to what exists. I think she's writing from southern Maine, so
Right.
very similar ecosystems.
Right.
That's a lot of fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've just joined the native tree Facebook group
Oh,
because I
wow.
don't know a lot about the trees.
Yes, I don't either.
So
I don't either.
I'm hoping
Only
I'll get
that we should plant
educated there.
oaks, you know?
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Blue jacket.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Yeah. So even back here, you've
Yeah, so this
got
is
a
shady.
lot going on.
Yeah, well, and this was, we kind of redid the backyard, and it's in disarray right now as we kind of move about our life and also prepare to move. But
Yeah.
we have mostly shade in the backyard, so I got some really great plants at
What
the
did you
garden
put in?
sale. This is a small shrub that we have right now. I think is this, I'm going to check to see if this is, oh, it's Carolina allspice, I think. Or, let me see if that's right. Okay, it's Calycanthus floridus. So I can't remember if that's Carolina allspice or spicebush.
Oh, okay.
It's Carolina allspice. I do have spicebush too, which
Yeah.
I got from the gardeners outside the native plant. Outside the plant sale, there's a native plant group. You can go. There are, I think. Now I'm looking around to see. It's been a little bit harder for me to get shade plants. I've mentioned that I'm very frugal, so to get them
Yeah.
inexpensively.
Right. Right.
Because they seem to propagate a lot slower on their own. So I see fewer of them at native plant sales or even at like the spring plant sales. But let's see. Let me think of others that I got some river oats and I think
Is that the river oats over there?
Yes, river oats is over here. I think it's so pretty how it
Oh,
creates
look,
these.
that's beautiful.
Yep. So I think that one's river oats, and then this is bellflower, and it gets these beautiful yellow
Is
flowers.
that Solomon's seal? Looks like
They
Solomon's
look
seal.
almost
No, it's not.
identical,
Maybe
but
it's
they're
not.
slightly
Yeah.
different. I think this one's the bellflower, but I could be wrong. And then there's this green and gold, which is a nice ground cover for the shade, and it gets little gold flowers.
That sounds great.
I think Jacob's ladder is native.
Oh,
We'll
it
have to
is.
check. Okay,
It
so
is.
that gives little blue flowers. That's really
Yes,
nice.
I planted some of that.
Okay.
Hoping it'll do all right under the oaks. I don't know.
And you know, I'm also just moving my violets back here because they come up everywhere, but they kind of create a nice ground cover. I did buy some like Pennsylvania sedge.
Real violets.
You can go inside. That's fine.
Yeah. How did the sedges do?
They're doing okay, but they certainly are slow growers. So
Yeah.
here's a sedge that I've planted here probably 2 years ago, maybe even 3.
Yeah.
And I wish it would be multiplying faster than it is.
Yeah, I had the same experience.
Really?
What's
Grow
this
out.
here?
This is cut leaf coneflower. It gets very
Oh,
tall.
I don't have
This is this is a little bit confusing.
Yeah.
Cut leaf coneflower. It probably got to about 6 feet tall,
Oh,
and it had really nice yellow flowers
sounds
on it.
interesting.
Yep, I got that one at a local plant sale, so I really recommend people to go to plant sales
Yeah.
in the spring.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it's a little hard to be confident that you're going to get a native. Oh, I should point out these shrubs because these are Ilex glabra, I think. I got these from Ilex glabra.
Two of
compactus,
those. You've
so
got
I
a male and a
two.
female.
Well, they actually didn't have any males, so I just got 2 females.
Okay.
But these were from the garden in the woods,
Yeah.
and they're a nice alternative to boxwoods.
Right.
They're lovely, and they do get if they had a male, they would get the berries.
Blue thing.
Yep,
Yeah.
Jacob's ladder again. And there's a lot of wood poppy that volunteered that I've
Oh,
just
lovely.
left in here.
Yeah.
And I find that that's like a nice filler, especially if you're getting started because it's usually volunteers.
Yeah.
And some people think it looks weedy, but I think it's lovely. Sweet little flowers, especially when it is a bigger plant.
And here's
More columbine.
columbine,
Yeah, I love columbine so much.
I think after what you said, I think I might move my columbines to the shade. Mm-hmm. I'm not doing very well.
It seems to tolerate sun, but I see they get a little bit sunburnt in the sun. I don't know. I don't remember if I moved this one this year. And then
What's this leaf?
I think that's a anemone, and I do have
it
a
could be
bunch
that
of the
wood
native
anemone,
ones.
right?
Yes, it could be
Yeah.
the wood, which has that little white flower. I think
Yeah.
it's the native one.
Yeah, that's lovely.
Yeah. Back here, it's a lot of volunteer. Oh, I did that thing where you get native trees from the Arbor Foundation.
No, I don't know. Tell me about that.
Oh well, when you become a member, they say like
Of what?
of the Arbor Day Foundation.
Oh.
I think you can sign up for like a $20 membership, and then
Yeah.
you can say, send me, I think 10 trees. And I think I picked the flowering trees collection.
Oh, lovely.
So they sent 2 different kinds of dogwood. I asked for redbud, but they were out, so they sent something else. I think they sent a crab apple, which I think that could be. I didn't do a very good job of labeling them. And then there was one other, I think flowering hawthorn maybe.
Oh, they sound wonderful.
Yeah, so it's a really
Small
fun
trees. Arbor Vitae? Is it?
Arbor Day Foundation.
Arbor Day Foundation.
Yep. And so that's a nice, very
Fantastic.
inexpensive way to get seedlings,
Yeah.
or saplings, I guess. And I can say at least half of them have survived.
Yeah.
I can't remember where the
Right.
others are.
Right.
But they come with their trunks painted, so if you are organized enough to keep their key, which I wasn't, you can keep track of what you have.
That's a fantastic way of getting a lot of understory trees in
Yes,
place.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's a little winter berry here, which I got from Native Plant Trust Garden in the Woods.
That's gorgeous.
Yep, that's a sweet one. And I think the last kind of native specimen I have right here is this bishop's cap, Epimedium something. And that, I'm trying to remember it, that blooms very early in the spring. And I
colour's
believe it's
that?
a white, little white flower. It's very sweet.
Yeah.
But I love the foliage on it. It's such a unique shape, almost like a begonia shape.
Yes. Yes, it is. Right, there's so much happening here. Really,
It is, yes, we tried to really maximize the space.
Extraordinary that this is happening in a small urban garden. Wonderful.
Yeah, our goal was really minimize the grass, and
Yeah.
right now it takes about maybe 20 minutes to mow. Just maybe. I don't do it.
Well, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Very kind of you
This is such a delight.
to share your garden with us.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
I'm not sure that Sylvester would agree with you, but
Yeah, he might be over it. But
thank you so
thank
much.
you for being patient with him.